Start.
Start.
Yep.
Well, just for the record, this is the Winnsboro Life Poet Society. This is the June meeting. Been doing this for more years than I can remember. I want to thank Donna for hosting us and Dick Clark for allowing us to be in this space. Nice, cool space. I've already done the announcement, so you'll have to go to the Winnsboro Center for the Old website and the Farmers Market website to find out everything I said. I read from this poet a number of months ago, maybe a year or so ago. The name of the book I'm reading from is called Raspberries Run Deep. And it's a book of poems and photographs by Edsel Ford.
Okay, let's see the cover of that.
For whom the famous Edsel automobile was named and was not a success. So if you own an Edsel, it's worth a lot of money now. That's right. It's, they're almost as valuable as the aluminum car with the rolling doors.
DeLorean?
The DeLorean. A friend of mine bought one of the last DeLoreans available, brand new.
You own one of those, don't you?
What's that?
DeLorean.
I have the road in it.
That's all.
Anyway, I'm just going to pick a couple of poems out of here and then pass the baton to the next reader so that Joe Dan can get out to the City Home Place.
Yeah, that's not until 7:30.
That's not till 7:30. Before I start, I want to remember three men who I've known since I've been in Winnsboro, who passed away in the past couple of weeks. Pastor Billy Condry, who I met when I first got to Winnsboro 14 years ago, was killed in an accident, a tree trimming accident, about 2 weeks ago. He was the founder and was the only pastor of Grace Fellowship here in Winnsboro. Roger Tinney, who I went to Sunday school with for about at least 10 years here at First Baptist Church. He passed a week or so this week. And Mel Mellenberger, who I've also known for at least 10 years, who was recently elected to the City Council in Winnsboro, and he got to go to one meeting. It was a marathon meeting about who knows what. He used to come to Farmers Market. He helped people. He was retired. He helped folks all into the next Marine. Helped people all over Winnsboro that needed both grass cut or fields cut. He didn't charge anything to do it. Real neat fellow. Died of a heart attack on Tuesday. So I just want to remember those three men. Probably others who are smart people in the last couple of weeks. And with that, I will pick some poems from
Let me just add that all this from Conrad tells us why his picture is on this building. And Doc's too.
Well, we heard that the Vic's going to change them soon, but we don't know when that's going to happen. So.
I suspect that one of them is a legend and the other an icon.
We won't say which one.
We won't say who's who. One of us is famous, the other is infamous. We don't know which is who.
They're both flirting with iconic status.
All right, this book was published, for those that are interested in stuff like that, in 1975. It was done by the Ozarks Arts and Crafts Fair. Is where this was, they published that. This is called The Head of the House. I'm just picking these at random. I've not read this whole book, so this is my first reading on it. Almost everything I read here, I read for the first time. The head of the house was a man so old he couldn't hear what he was told. While the things he wasn't meant to hear somehow came easy to his ear. A man whose days were gaunt with grief, whose past seemed long and future creed, but who at times was so profound he seemed a grace to have around. Thus we endured the thing we cursed, till suddenly the iron heart burst, and we found ourselves with a cold wind blowing, who had lived inside without ever coming. This is called Storm Cellar. My Aunt Rebecca, stiff as a Baptist poker, let all those Algerians perish like cockroaches inside her radio and never sent to care. There's capital C-A-R-E-D. Her eyes took on a grim, avenging glint whenever those Catholics in Italy were damned by being undamned in their beds. But Aunt Rebecca clucked like Lady God. On August days when clouds piled up from west, she hemmed even little dark Protestants out of the weather. No matter what brawny field hand got bailed in, she didn't cotton to insurance companies. It was Rebecca held the cellar door. When they were all inside her earthen bosom, coughing and sweating, Aunt Rebecca sang a hymn or two, which outdid any storm. And little Protestants giggled in the dark. Hounds bayed while treeing visions of the wild, and grown folks called amen to drown her out. How many more she might have saved from wind or hail or lightning, we will never know. And elderberries sprang up on a shelter, whose roots thrust downward through geography, theology, Rebecca in the dark, and wine distilled from her old righteous bones. This is called a turn of prayer. The night my brother died, I lay sick at heart, and all next day, and I could hear my father pray. He was a fierce man with a prayer. He stood all night in the mountain air, with his shirt coat off and his chest bare. His eyes were hard, his face was lean. My mother looked out on the scene with grief, but dare not intervene. At dawn, she drew him back inside, told him that their boy had died, blessed with sleep, and never cried. And all that day and all that night, my father wandered, drawn and white, out on the mountain, and the fight that had welled in him fell away. But from the still room where I lay, I could hear my father pray. Edsel Ford, son of Henry
Edsel Ford is the poet.
Oh, yeah. Henry Ford's boy.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I will pass the baton to who wants it next. Who wants to go next?
I don't mind, but I don't desire to get ahead of anybody.
Well, I think you'll be forgiven if you do that undertaker chair. I get some chair. No, he was Henry Ford.
Son, I thought it was his brother. I bet tell him. Well, I'm Ken Eaton. I'm Ken, I usually say I'm striving to be the best that's ever been, but I haven't made it yet.
Well, now wait a minute. I think you are the best Ken Eaton in the world.
Thank you, I'm not as good as I want to be.
Oh, my Lord, now, you're living.
Thanks again to Donnie, man. I enjoy coming here just because of the beauty of the place, how it looks, you know. Just coming to this place almost made me a poetry reader. I never read poetry. I come up here to read a little bit just to enjoy the music. Really a good job.
Here comes the Fritos.
I guess we better find another bag.
The free what?
That comes the free coast.
Conrad was talking about people that passed recently, and I know all of you know about Bonnie Foster. You know, she ran Bonnie's lunchbox, I guess, down there. She was 55 years old in the prime of her life, energetic. We all had our Friday morning breakfast there the day she passed, and everything was perfectly normal, it seemed like. She was jolly and cooking up the good food and serving it sometimes. But that evening, she closed at 2, and she had a history of maybe being short of breath sometimes. She'd go by the doctor's office and get a shot, and it seemed to relieve her. So she did that day. She went by the doctor that Friday. Was it been 3-4 weeks ago now? And got the shot. Mark said when she went home, she acted like she always did. It made her feel just a little better. She said about 11 o'clock in the evening, she come out of the bathroom hollering, and he was sleeping, and she said, "Mark, I can't get my breath." And he said that's all she got out, hit the floor. Her lungs had somehow filled up with water, I believe what they told me. She could not get any air in her lungs. So, Bonnie, 98% of that restaurant. I want to put a plug in for it. I can tell you from experience, it's not the same, it's not as good, but I'm going to hang in there for a little while. I hope it makes it, because I have to have breakfast about 3 days a week down there, so I'm going to plug it if you happen to get hungry for breakfast. She serves lunch, but they close at 2. You might go down there, but mind you, I'm not telling you to be the best you ever had, but it's pretty good breakfast. It was the best as long as Bonnie was there, but she was the whole business. Hopefully they can make it. We had a fundraiser, what do you call it, a benefit there. Was it last Saturday, Don?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We raised some $620, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Then there was some bad news. Somebody got into the till, and they called them. That's awful. I hate to mention that on camera, but it happened.
Are you serious about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she got fired, but
well, that means it was one of the help. You wasn't supposed to say that.
I didn't mention no name.
Anyway, along with that was Bonnie. I got a call, I think it was early yesterday morning. I got a little farm and ranch over in Titus County, and my neighbor over there is the person who runs the Tri-Lakes Veterinary Clinic. It's on 21. So my property goes on their property on the back side. My neighbor, I got a call, he was out there working and just fell over. He wasn't much more than 55. I don't know exactly how much he was, but just fell over. So I'm getting a little bit worried. I'm gonna start working a little more, I guess. No, you don't pass away as quick when you're working. Anyway, remember those 2 names. His name was Don. I don't even remember his last name. We didn't have a whole lot to talk about, but we did from time to time over the fence. You know how that goes. His name was Don. I was there before he came, and the lady is actually the vet there. So he came and started helping, and I believe they got married. If they didn't, they lived together. I think they were married. I don't know. But anyway, he was a hard worker. He made it grow. And I said to him one time, I said, "Don, I don't ever see a trailer leaving here with a kangaroo in it or a camel." He said, "Look, we don't come by your house." He said, "But twice a month, we take a load to the Dallas airport, and we ship them all over the world." Evidently, they got a slew of them. They got to be making some money. So I guess that was true. They take them to the airport and fly them. All the time that I was over there, I seen one zebra walking down the street, somebody trying to teach it to lead. But anyway, it's a pretty big operation they got over there. But we never know. Our job, I've been told, is to be ready, and I hope what I'm going to read here has got the word God in it. I hope it doesn't offend anybody. But the month of June...
It's not going to offend God.
Huh?
It's not going to offend God.
It doesn't offend me either. The month of June was celebrated Father's Day, so Amanda Barr decided to write this little poem, and I liked it, so I'm going to read it today. It's called Dad. But God took the strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, and the calm of the quiet sea. The generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power of the eagle's flight. The joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the depth of a family need. Then God combined these qualities, and when there was nothing more to add, he knew his masterpiece was complete, and so he just called his creation Dad. I thought that's got to be good. Just called it Dad. Now, we've got a lot to live up to, I guess. All of us here are either a dad or we had a dad, for sure. That's a pretty strong definition, I think, Dad. Got to thinking the other day, I looking through some of the files at my house, and I found some pictures in there of people I know, I used to know, but they're almost strangers to me now. And I was reading through some books, I found this poem by Catan, that's all it says, K-A-H-T-A-I-N, called The Strangers in the Box. It goes like this. Where's my glasses at? It's a smaller print than the other one. I got it right here. Sorry. The strangers in the box. Come, look with me inside this drawer. In this box, I've often seen at the pictures, black and white, faces proud, but still serene. I wish I knew the people, these strangers in the box. Their names and all their memories are lost among my socks. I wonder what their lives were like. How did they spend their days? What about their special times? I'll never know their ways. If someone would have taken time to tell me who, what, and when, these faces on my heritage would come to life again. Would this become the fate of the pictures we take today? The faces and the memories someday to be tossed away. Make time to save your pictures. Seize the opportunity when it knocks. Or someday, you and yours could be the strangers in the box.
Who wrote that one?
K-A-H-T-I-N. I've never heard of it. That's the only name it had listed. It said submitted by Catan. I thought it was good. I had another piece I wanted to read. I gave it to Donna. I think she can read it so much better than I can. And it's kind of about a love story. Women seem to be stronger in that department than we are. So ask her, she'll come read that part for us. Thank you.
I got suckered into this. He didn't tell me until I got here. He found this for me.
I told her she wouldn't come.
Well, I don't claim to be no pro. I'm Donna Pitts, and I like to listen to everybody that has their point because they're stories. They're storybooks to me, and I love stories. So anyway, this one he found me was it's called As Much as Ever. Once upon a time, my dear, I offered you my heart and told you I sincerely hoped there would be that we never part. At once upon a time I said you meant so much to me that I would be in love with you for all eternity. And now the days have come and gone, the years have slipped away, and heavy is the dust upon our dreams of yesterday. I know not where to find you now, or what is in your mind, or whether you remember all the things we left behind. But I still dream about the stars that reach across the sky, and I will love you just as much as the years gone by. And that was by James Midkiff.
Oh,
She said something very significant. I want to point it out. Early on when she started, you might not have caught it, but she said, I like to listen to other people. Now, that was a woman saying it. I like to listen.
I'm hatless today. Too hot. Well, let's see. My name is Kris Martinson. Yeah. I never seen you before.
Kris, help me remember, when this is over, you and I need to have a little short conversation.
See, I'm in trouble already. You're in trouble. Yeah. See, Don, what did I do?
I think it's an opportunity to get in trouble. That's all.
Yep. Let's see. I found one on, I almost said Bonnie and Clyde, that's not right, Doc Holliday. And it goes something like this. Born in 1851, was a man who was famed for his skill with a gun. Raised in the south of the USA, he came to be known as Doc Holliday. An intelligent man, he would earn a degree as a dental surgeon at the university. But alas, the dentist he could no longer be, when soon thereafter he contracted TB. To ease his symptoms, he moved to the west and became a gambler who was put to the test. In smoke-filled saloons where there was no law, and despite disputes, disputes were settled with your own 44. And though many tried to challenge Doc's draw, none would survive to settle the score. No one could match his great skill with a gun. The speed of his draw was second to none. While living in Tombstone, Wyatt Earp was his pal. They both fought together at the OK Corral, where the Clanton McClurys were laid to their rest. In the most famous gunfight ever fought in the West, it was when Morgan Earp was ambushed one night that Doc and Wyatt were drawn to the fight. They trailed the outlaws from town to town, and together they shot those gunslingers down. His health in decline, Doc moved from the state to a town in Colorado where he met his fate. It was there that he spent his last night in his bed. Aged just 36, the legend lay dead, Doc Holliday. I'm not dedicated to you, Doc.
That was good, Chris.
Let's see here. This one, I forgot the title of this one. I know it's about a falling star or something to that juncture. I know that much. I think, anyway, a shooting star, I think that's what it is. I wish I could bring you back and press rewind. I wish I could have changed God's mind. I wish I could tell you how much we need you, in which every night in my dreams I can see you. I wish this pain didn't feel so deep. I wish you could have awakened from that forever sleep. I wish the tears could stop and not fall. I wish heaven had a number so I can give you a call. I wish God knew he left us so sad. I wish you knew you were the greatest dad. I wish you didn't have to grow old and tired. I wish your life didn't have a date to expire. I wish I could have fixed your broken heart. I wish we didn't have to be this far apart. I wish heaven wasn't this far. I wish I could see you again. I wish you this on a shooting star. There.
It's a new reader.
I know, but that's a,
I tried it. I had my shirt on yesterday, said, Mama, try it. Okay, where's my phone? Right here. I think I read this last year or whatever, maybe 2 years ago. But it's called about the Old Gunfighter. The old gunfighter sat around counting the notches on his gun. He laughed at the people in the town for the way he made them run. When he walked into a bar and ordered himself a drink, the place would quickly empty out, if he would even blink. He built a reputation from one town to another. They said his first killing was his older brother. He had just turned 17 when he took his brother's life, leaving behind one small son and a bitter, grieving wife. Many years have come and gone since that fatal day, but he never forgot the last words he heard his brother say. Someday you'll meet your match, and your hand will be too slow. When you feel a bullet pierce your heart, and the blood beginning to flow, you will think of me as you lay dying on some barroom floor. For I'll be waiting on the other side, even the score. Hell won't be big enough to find a place to hide. That was his brother's final words just before he died. Give me another whiskey, and you better make it fast. He yelled at the bartender, or it will be your last. Then from the swinging doors he heard a stranger say, "Hey, old man, don't you think it's your time, that you're on your way?" As he turned and looked toward the door, he got a big surprise. The whiskey he'd been drinking and the sun reflecting in his eyes made him think he saw a ghost of the brother he once knew. As he cursed and fumbled for his gun, the stranger quickly drew. Lying in a pool of blood, he heard the young man say, "Burn in hell, you old fool, for this is your judgment day." He died never knowing the stranger was his brother's son. The young gunfighter then ordered whiskey as he carved the first notch on his gun.
We just call it vengeance, or that's the name of it?
Oh, this is big enough print here. Ooh, I can read this one. Jill wrote this, so this comes fresh out of Hawkins. This is fresh off
This
the
is
press.
original, a Jill original.
This is a Jill original. I hope it's not X-rayed or anything. I'll try to censor it. It's called Romance. Page 1.
What does that mean?
I think a lot of people don't understand what real romance is. Anyone can buy flowers, candy, and jewelry. The true romantic things in life are just the little things. You do everything to show you care and that you're thinking of them. It's going out of your way to make them happy. The way you hold her hand, the random text in the middle of the day, just to say I love you, I'll miss you. The way he stops to kiss you when he passes by. It's dedicating her a song. It's letting her eat your fries, pumpkin pie, and getting her a fan and drink and telling her she is beautiful. Even when she just woke up with her hair a mess and no makeup. It's putting your favorite song on pause so she can tell you about the day. And laughing at his jokes. It's slow dancing in the kitchen, kissing in the rain. Romance isn't about buying, It's about giving. True romance is in the gestures. Thanks, Doc, for always opening the door for me. and for every other kind gesture not mentioned. You definitely have what real romance is all about. I want you to know I truly appreciate your kindness, Doc, and will love you forever and a day. Joe.
You old softy. You set a new goal for me. I got something to work for.
Still.
All right.
Oh, boy, I'm gonna have the honor.
Yeah. Please. My name's Shodan Boyd, and I want to reflect on a couple of poems that have been read. Donna, the one you read was given to you or found for you by one Ken Eaton, is that right? So you had nothing to do with the little finding it? Okay. Ken, how and where did you find it?
I bought the book from Conrad several months ago.
Well,
and
you
I
have the book.
I just started reading it.
The book that's entirely in John J. Metcalf.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, when I was in my 20s, John J. Metcalf was a syndicated poet. He was in the newspaper about every day. And I liked him a lot. He was probably my first favorite poet, modern poet anyway. And I used to look forward to reading his poetry every day. And even many, many years this went on, past my 20s, I don't remember when he either died or stopped writing or stopped being syndicated, I don't know which. But somewhere along the line, decades ago, I ran across that book. And it just says John J. Metcalf, the J, I don't know what he stands for, but that's his poems in the newspaper always have the J. The John and then the J. So I appreciated hearing one of his poems today. I put him in the same category as somebody like Edgar Guest, who in the 20s and the 30s, I guess, he was known as, the plain man's poet, every man's poet, that sort of thing. He was not known as a great lyricist or stylist or anything like that, but he could put together words in a way that appealed to the common man. That's what he was known as, the common man's poet. And one of my very favorite poem by Edgar Guest is one called Raisin Pie. How many of you have ever had raisin pie? Anybody? Have you ever seen a raisin pie? See, when I was growing up, they were famous in this area, and people who could make good raisin pies were very popular. My aunt was one of those who raised me, was one of those who made the very best raisin pie. I was fortunate enough to get her to write that recipe down, and I myself can now make that pretty good raisin pie. But poets like that, I think are destined for a certain type of immortality, and I think probably Edgar Guest and John J. Metcalf will be remembered long after some of those who are considered stylists or people who followed a certain poetic style and this sort of thing. Some of you know Skip, what's his last name, Conrad? Skip.
Hughes.
Last name?
Hughes, I think.
The one that's a poet.
Yeah, Hughes.
Hughes, yeah, right. Now, he is what I would call a highly skilled poet. He knows all the different, Conrad is too. Conrad has had a lot of training in poetry, and he can write a poem to what's about any style you might give him. In other words, he knows the style, and then he can write a poem to a certain style. I don't, I'm not one of those kind of poets, and I don't think Edgar Guest was, or John J. Metcalf either. But I remember some of their poetry long after the skilled poets. However, the poem I'm going to read today is written by one of the most skilled poets who ever lived. And how many of you have heard the name Alfred Lord Tennyson? Okay.
I read about him in the history book.
Huh?
I read about him in the history book.
I thought maybe you thought he was the grandfather of Jack Lord of the original Hawaii Five-O.
Or consider.
Well, I'm going to read a poem by him today, but it just occurred to me one other thing. Conrad asked for directions to Home Place Cemetery. And if any of you are, besides him, are planning to go out there after this meeting, I should remind people who are not familiar with that, with 4620. I said you go out 312 to 4620, that's about 2 miles or so out. And you'll come to 4620, which only turns left. There is no 4620 going right. So you turn left on 4620, and it's about a quarter of a mile to the Tenney Chapel Church. And at the church there, if you're going to stay on 4620, you have to turn 90 degrees to the left and go east. Now, you can continue on what would seem to a person not familiar with the geography of that area if you wanted to just keep going straight instead of taking that 90-degree turn to the left. If you keep going straight, though, at the church instead of turning left, that becomes 4621 right there, right at the left-hand turn. So if you don't turn left, you're not still on 4620. 4620 turns left. But if you stay on that road heading due south, you are immediately on 4621. And unless you're pretty observant, you won't see the sign that says 4621. So if you've never been out there, then don't keep going straight when you get to Tenney Chapel. Take the 90-degree turn to the left, and it's just another quarter of a mile up the road there, and it's on the right, and there's nothing there except a gate with a sign. No others, well, a grove of trees, but there's nothing else there. No buildings or anything at all there. This is a family cemetery that was established by Herschel and Betty Gay Chatting some years ago when one of their daughters died, and she had asked to be buried on that farm. That's why, and they went through the legal process to set up a cemetery just for her. But most of that family have decided that's where they will also be laid to rest. Roger Tenney is the brother of Betty Gay Chatting. So that's probably why. Also, the cemetery itself is located right over the home site for Taft Tenney, where Roger Taft Tenney's farm used to be located. Taft Tenney is my first cousin. His Taft's grandfather and my grandfather were the same. We had different grandfathers, we had the same grandfather, Ambrose Tenney, the Tenney for whom Tenney Chapel is now. And so when I grew up, I knew Taft real well as a first cousin. And I remember when Roger was born, he was not the youngest, he was the only boy though in that family. And some of it, Conrad has mentioned he knew him at Sunday school with him at First Baptist and things like that. Some of you knew him when he was commissioner of Precinct 4 here. Maybe some of you know him for his drilling business, and he's had a lot of agricultural businesses or sidelines as well. A pretty well-known guy in the area, and has had a lot of kind of colorful life. says in the, all of the people that called me from the family and told me about it said call it a funeral. And so I'm assuming that it's a full-fledged funeral, not a memorial service, although I didn't ask anyone. But the members of the family who called me and told me about it referred to it as a funeral. The poem that I'm going to read today is by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and it's called Crossing the Bar. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me. And may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea, but such a ride as moving seems to sleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out of the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark. May there be no sadness or farewell when I embark. For though from out our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Alfred Lord. This is one of those poems that was so famous that when I was in school, things have changed a lot from the time I was in public school. I don't think this poem is required memorization for anybody in any class, any public class, maybe some private school, probably some private school, but not public school. But this was required. I had memorized this when I was a kid, and so did everybody else.
I just wonder if everybody knows what it means, crossing the bar, in nautical terms.
Is there anyone who didn't figure it out? Hold up your hand if you got it. If you're, we'll have Ken explain if it's not clear to you.
Crossing the bar is when the ship leaves the sea and comes into port, and in Coast Guard law, it requires you to get a pilot on board if you cross the bar. That means leaving the sea, leaving the deep water into the shallow waters of the channel. That's crossing the bar.
Y'all do that.
No, we all thought it was the bar down the street here. That's what we thought.
Barrel House.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're going to close, as we always do, with a paragraph from How to Read a Poem, To Fall in Love with Poetry by Edward Hirsch. The poems I have chosen by Bishop, Neruda, and Orton. And see there, he mentions three poets that none of us doesn't ring a bell with any of us, but they are famous poets, who can write a poem according to any style that you might mention, highly skilled poets. And I could easily have chosen other favorite poems by other poets, as initiating readings come to us mediated through different languages, different traditions. One is written in traditional form, two in free verse, one in English, one in Spanish, one in Czech. It goes without saying that each poem lives most fully in its native language. What these poems share as lyrics, however, is a mode of verbal behavior. Each of these writings have found a way to interrogate and transfigure a profound disquietude, to bring forth what otherwise might have evaded consciousness, and each has made that coming into consciousness accessible to others by building it into the organic structure of the poem itself. That's today's paragraph from Edward Hirsch. And we are now on page 49.
Moving right along.
We'll finish that page. Let's see, are there any other announcements? Anybody's thought of that need to be made? Any announcements, Donnie?
We're having first Saturday of the month, July the 6th. Having a performer here doing something. He's gonna play music and telling stories from his career, musical past. We used to play with Boss Skaggs and Stevie Miller and the Beach Boys. He had a hit song, and he was one of our artists here earlier.
Who was
And
that?
he's gonna perform Saturday night on July the 6th is our first Saturday performance.
That's this coming Saturday,
No,
July 6th? July
It's 2
6th.
weeks.
Hey, are you going to be sending out an email?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, how do we make sure we're on your list?
Some,
Leave you a
just
note?
look with your email,
Yeah, I think I'm on your list, but I
and
want to be.
you're on those.
Okay. All right, so you're going to send a reminder?
Yep,
Okay. Now, what is his name again?
Bob Hayden.
Hayes?
He plays bluegrass, he's gonna play banjo.
Well, I'll have to be here then.
Yeah, it'll be fun. He's an interesting guy.
Bob Hayes, H-A-Y-E.
Bob Hayden.
Hagen.
Hayden, Hayden. Hayden.
Oh, Hayden. Yeah.
He's also a painter. He
I
used to
have heard
paint.
of him, yeah. Okay, so first Saturday.
July 6th, first
What is
Saturday
the
of the month.
official name of this event now?
An evening with Bob Hayden.
Yeah, but, oh, okay. But do you have a generic name for the first Friday or first Saturday?
I hadn't really figured out a good name. I'm just calling it the first Saturday of the month. First Saturday of the month.
Okay.
We'll have something different every first Saturday of the month.
Okay.
Starting at 5, early in the evening, so people go out to dinner afterwards.
Okay, great. Kris, you and I need to have a short meeting.
Dan, I have a question, Dad.
Yeah.
Is it, I know my grandmother used to make a mincemeat pie.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Okay, that's what I was trying to ask you, are the tastes the same?
They don't taste anything alike, of course. But they're both, in my opinion, they're two of my favorite pies.
Yeah.
They're raisin and probably just barely behind it to just a 1/10% maybe.
I never,
Mince pie.
Yeah.
Mince meat pie.
I never did find out the ingredients my grandmother made it out of, but to me, it symbol raisins, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tasted like raisins,
Then,
but I don't know what it's,
the ones that I have tasted have a much more tart taste to it. It may be difference in variety.
yeah, true.
Let me say again, I'll be at Bonnie's for breakfast 3 mornings next week. She opens at 6:30. And Tuesday night, we'll be there with a jam session. Tuesday night, starts at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. And you can have dinner while you're there. If you want to. You don't have to.